Welcome to Talk of the Town. As usual, we have a great variety of guests and topics for you today, starting with decision making. Now, Stephen Covey once said, "I am not a product of my circumstances, I'm a product of my decisions." And yet we all kind of hate making decisions sometimes and even get stuck. Here to help us today is James Caidman. He's a business coach with Draw In Customers Business Coaching. Thanks for coming in today, James.
Thanks for having me. This is great.
I love this topic because that's how we get through every single day of our life. It's full of decisions.
It is.
And so what is it about decisions that make them so tough for folks?
I think a lot of people are scared of the results, and they think that if they just sit still and tell themselves that if they someday make that decision, that it'll be the right one, the longer they take, when a lot of times that's not the case.
Yeah, sometimes there's a decision to not make a decision, perhaps.
Definitely, that all the time is a decision, whether it's buying a car, getting married, or having a kid, picking out a house, something like that.
Yeah, those big ones especially.
Very true.
So what results do people find from being poor at making decisions?
A lot of times, from my experience, they end up living on hope.
Oh.
They hope that maybe someday I'll do this, maybe someday I'll start a business, or someday I'll buy that house, or I'll buy that car, or just someday things will be better, when someday really never comes, especially if you don't really take any action.
Yeah, and that could maybe end up in regret. We hate that word, but
Huge
Yeah.
regret. Yeah.
So let's move into some stuff we can do. What
Sure.
about some tips to help us?
The first one is I like to tell people to spend 10% on the problem itself that you're trying to solve and 90% on the solution of time, but realistically, the faster you can make a decision, generally speaking, the better.
Really? So can we just run with that first example?
Absolutely.
Like you said, buying a car.
Right.
Whether to or not?
Sure,
Or
absolutely.
what kind of car?
What kind of car? Anything like that.
Okay, so focus 10% on the problem?
10% on the problem. Otherwise, you think about like, oh, do I need this car? Should I fix the car I have? Should I buy a different car? And you just end up in this cycle where nothing's really going to happen.
I see.
When it's better just to make the decision, even if it turns out to be a wrong one, you've given yourself much more time to actually change the decision and adapt rather than just ending up in a cycle.
I've heard the advice that you should flip a coin and whatever result you end up hoping for while it's in the air is actually the right one.
That's actually pretty good. That's pretty good advice, yeah.
Do you have another tip for us?
Well, I like to tell people that Google decided to buy YouTube in 10 days.
Oh my.
That's many billions of dollars. So you deciding to make a decision on whatever it is with your business or your life, family, whatever, if it takes more than 10 days, you're probably taking too long.
Okay, that's definitely me. I would take more than 10 days for something like that. And I do sometimes get stuck. People get stuck. And
Totally.
what do we do about that?
The first step is acknowledgement.
That you're stuck?
That you're stuck. A lot of
Okay.
times people just get stuck and they don't realize it. Maybe they have to ask themselves something like, is this really accomplishing what I want it to? Just universally, whether it's decision making or not. And sometimes when you think about questions like that, you think, oh, it's not. I'm not going to make any more progress by not making a decision. So sometimes you just have to go. Step out of your comfort zone a little bit.
So step out and make a decision, even if it might end up being the wrong one.
Correct.
Is
It's
what I
very,
hear
very
you
common
saying.
for people to make the wrong decision. But you look at any great business leader, any great leader, they've all made terrible decisions.
There's a saying I wrote down for us today. It said, good decisions come from experience, and experience come from bad decisions.
Completely, completely.
So what if you do make a bad decision?
You got to be able to pivot as fast as you can.
Pivot fast. Oh,
So
boy.
let's just think that let's say you started a business and maybe you weren't ready, right?
Yeah.
But you're out there, and you're like, what do I do now? You could close up. But that's not realistic. That's just killing your dream, right? But what if you just reached out for help? Friends, family, I mean, anyone. There's tons of people that would be there to help you kind of pick you back up. Think of everybody around you as lifeguards if you jumped in when you probably shouldn't have.
All right, we have about a minute left. What if, or how do you know, I guess, if you've made the right decision?
Usually that comes with hindsight, right?
Yeah.
And then you can be like, look at me, I made this awesome decision. Oh, it's so great.
I would think you would feel better maybe inside.
Totally.
But
it's
that
a huge confidence boost, and then it helps you make better decisions down the line.
Down the road, sure. All righty. Well, James, thank you so much. We all
Thank you.
face these every day. Those are some good tips for us.
Thank you.
Again, this is James Caidman. He's a business coach, and it's called Draw In Customers Business Coaching. And we have more Talk of the Town coming up right after the break.